recently returned from a trip to Scotland with my mother. And since I was taking my mother, I decided to splurge a little bit. And I got us a very nice hotel room at the Balmoral, which is stunning. It is iconic. And it had a very tall bathtub. Now, why is that a problem? Because my mother, who is 74 years old, is about 5 foot tall. And the bathtub was about 3 feet tall. So my mother had to basically do like a gymnastics mount to get into the bathtub. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the hotel room, like anxiously listening, like an anxious lifeguard, waiting for my mother to cry out for help as if she's fallen or something, which thankfully did not happen. And that is traveling with your parents when you're in your 40s. There's a very luxury side of, you know, fancy safaris and hotel rooms and private guides. And then there's, you know, sitting outside the bathroom like an anxious lifeguard, you know, wondering if your mother is gonna slip and fall. This video is about balancing both of those things. Hi, I'm Annie. I'm a frequent traveler. I run the account Average Girl Does Cool Things, and I have traveled all over the world with my parents. My mother and I have been to Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Scotland, Rome. God, we've been a lot of places. My dad and I went to Egypt last year. We've been to Australia and Dublin as a family. And these trips have been some of the most cherished experiences of my life. And I've learned a lot about how to travel well with your parents. So I want to share some practical things with you and some lessons that I've learned that I hope will make traveling with your parents an even more special experience. Because there is something about experiencing the world with the people who raised you that really unlocks another level in your relationship. Like, you see them differently, they see you differently, and it can really change your entire dynamic. For me, one of the most interesting things traveling with my parents is that my parents learned how okay I am on my own and how competent I am. And they worry much less about me when I'm out there traveling all the time because they've seen me navigate crazy situations and handle myself well. Your parents are always gonna worry about you, but I think when you prove to them in person and they see it with their own eyes, like that you are a competent adult, it changes things. You start to have this role reversal in a way. That role reversal is real. When you are a kid, your parents take care of everything. They plan everything for you. But when you're older and you're the one planning the trips, that is no longer the dynamic. The research, the planning, logistics, like that is up to you now. So when I travel with my parents, I am traveling, I'm a traveler, but I'm really focused on their experience and making sure that everything in their experience is really smooth and, most importantly, really safe. Because if we have a safety issue on the trip, it is going to ruin the entire thing and ruin a lot of things beyond the trip itself. So that means I do more research than I do with a solo trip. I am always planning contingencies. I'm spending a little extra money on things that really matter. And I am constantly looking out for things that might trip us up, like literally. So let's talk about some of the practical things that you need to remember when you are traveling with your parents. Number one, you have to slow down. And this is really hard for somebody like me who likes to go somewhere and see all the things and do all the things. When I'm traveling with my parents, we go a little bit slower. We will take some time to sit down and eat somewhere and relax. We will probably be done exploring by 7 o'clock, right? We do like 3 things in a day instead of doing 6 things in a day. And honestly, there's a part of me that actually really likes that pace. Maybe I'm just like a 70-year-old in a 40-year-old's body. But when you slow down more, you experience more and you get to spend more time talking and connecting. These kind of trips are really about energy management. So you have to be willing to slow down and take things at a slower pace than you're used to. Second thing I really recommend here is that you splurge more. And honestly, we're really spending on convenience. You know, we're gonna stay in hotels that are close to city center instead of somewhere that we have to commute a little bit. We're gonna take more Ubers and taxis than trying to take the public transportation. And one of my favorite things to splurge on is a private guide. When I went to Scotland with my mom, I ended up hiring a private guide to be with us for 4 days, which was really expensive. It was about $4,000, but it was like the best way we could have done it because I could just hand it over to somebody who knew where to go, who knew where to take us, who knew all the stories, and who really made it easy on us to see as much as we possibly could in the slow time frame that we gave them. You know, we didn't have to lug bags around. There was no getting lost and having to retrace our steps. We got to just enjoy the experience. Now, besides spending a little bit of extra money to make sure that things are convenient and comfortable, there's some really practical things to think about when you're traveling with your parents. Number one, I mean, what I just learned about the Balmoral, check the bathroom situation. Is it accessible? Is it like a step in, step out shower? Do they have grab bars? These are very simple things that you can check either on photos or by by calling the hotel and asking and making sure that you have an accessible room. Same with elevators. A lot of places when you're traveling abroad don't have elevators, and you don't want to make your 74-year-old mother haul her luggage up 3 flights of stairs every time you go in and out. It's just, yeah. So check the elevator situation. In that vein, manage the luggage because you're not gonna be lugging a bunch of bags around with your parents. In fact, light luggage is best here. And I am really conscientious about like making sure I grab my mom's bag out of the car or put it in the car. My father won't let me do that for him, but I would if he'd let me. It's me being courteous, but it's also me making sure that like my parents don't strain their back and then be unable to continue with the trip. Speaking of which, stairs and cobblestones are like your worst enemy. Whew. I walk down the street with my parents and I'm constantly like ready to grab them if they trip over a cobblestone. It is my worst nightmare that one of them is going to fall on a trip and then be like knocked out or hurt or injured something, and it's going to impact like not just the trip but also impact like our lives as a family down the road. So I am very conscientious whenever I am like walking around with my parents. With that medical concern, I definitely recommend getting travel insurance, getting medical coverage in your travel insurance, and like don't be afraid to splurge on it. My mom and I are going to Antarctica next year and we balled out on the rescue insurance in case something goes wrong. Like we were like, yeah, just come get us, airlift us out of there. And like, that is one worry I don't want to have. And with all of that, just like know your parents' limits and respect them, okay? If there is something they really don't like to do, don't make them do it. Don't, it's just gonna make the things miserable. Why would you make them do it? And be willing to like split up and do your own thing. Maybe your mom wants to go back to the hotel and take a nap, and that's a great opportunity for you to go out and do something else. You don't have to be like together all the time, stuck together. In fact, you might get on each other's nerves if you do that. So it might be a good idea to have a little bit of alone time and separate activities built into your trip so everybody can just get along even better. I am super, super lucky. Like my mom is 74, my dad's 75. They are in incredibly good shape. They're still very, very active. They still really like to travel. So I am so grateful that I get to have trips with them and do not take a single second for granted. And I know that I don't get to have it forever. So like I've made a very conscious decision that like if we are going on trips together, we are gonna invest in the quality and the experience of the trip. Because like when I'm their age, I'm not gonna be thinking about like, oh, how much money I spent on that trip with my parents. Like I'm gonna be thinking about how awesome it was to like see this super remote island in Scotland with my mom, and like how ridiculously cool it was to see my dad's face like when he saw the pyramids for the first time, which yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, take the trip and you know, check the bathtub before you go. If you've taken a trip with your parents, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear all about it. And if you've been thinking about taking a trip with your parents, go. You're not gonna regret it. Okay, I did not mean to cry in that one, y'all. Okay, until next time, go create a life you love. Bye.